What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Southern Copper Chronicles. On this episode, I delivered a controller for Mr. Luke Jean here. He's got a startup distillery. He's almost finished with his paperwork and all his legal part. And we're going to do a little interview with him about what it takes to start a distillery so that some of you guys that might be interested in starting a distillery can get first-hand experience from somebody who's been through the grind and actually done the hard work to do that whole process with the federal, state, and local laws, and he went through all that. So what he has here, and he just got this delivered a few days ago. This is from Still Dragon, beautiful 100-gallon Bain Marie type still. I'm gonna come over here and grab the camera and show you some of the amazing stuff that came with all this. So you can see him standing there. That is, don't worry about that. Everybody knows it's hot down here in the south. We got to stay hydrated. A 6-plate. You said 8-inch column.
8-inch.
8-inch column. You can see all the stuff. Like I said, I'm just delivering a controller. He's getting everything set up. There's this massive deflaminator to put on top of the bubble plates to load it up, and this no joke of a shotgun condenser, which is going to do the job. Like he's going to make some absolute phenomenal alcohol. Right over here, you can see I just delivered the Electric Spirits 22,000 watt distillation. Our Electric Spirits distillation controller, 22,000 watt unit. That's going to be 4 5,500 watt elements. Should get this bad boy fired up about an hour. Start dripping about an hour. And while I'm moving the camera around, I want to just show you guys. We're near Bowling Green, Kentucky, and this is absolutely God's country. It is beyond beautiful out here. Absolutely amazing place. So that you've seen a little bit about it, we're going to talk to Luke here. Reset all this. All right. So Luke, what got you in distilling? What made you want to start a distillery?
So when I got out of the Army, didn't really have a plan of what I wanted to do. I had a mentor that said, you can literally do anything. Like, this is your redo, you can pick out whatever you want to do. And I thought about it, and she said, what's the thing that gets you excited? And I said, well, I like alcohol, I like whiskey.
Right.
She was like, well, my husband is a sales guy for a distillery. It's a legitimate career, you can get into it. So from there, I got hired on at Heritage Distilling Company as a production distiller there. Moved my way through there, working on their whiskey program and gin program. Went through South Puget Sound Community College, their craft brewing and distilling program.
That's all.
Learned more about the process, and every day I'm learning something new, picking it up, and it's just such an exciting field. The people that are in the distillation community, in the craft spirits, and then even in the booze world are just exciting to be around.
So that brings up something I hadn't even really thought about till you just said that. Would you recommend to someone looking to start up a distillery to go to a community college or go somewhere like that to take some courses and learn something? Do you think that's something that's beneficial to run the business?
It's definitely beneficial to especially learn the business side of craft spirits from people that have gone through that process. My experience with South Puget Sound Community College was amazing. So we got a lot of hands-on experience with people with 10, 15 years experience, teaching you the full process, the business. So it's something definitely to look out for, is especially if you're brand new to distilling and want to make it a business, treat it like a business or treat it like a career. Go get as much knowledge as you can. That's not saying that you can't be a great distiller without that education, but definitely do some reading. There's great books out there, and constantly be learning.
Right. What would you say as far as, right, so you worked with a legit distillery already. With what you know now, going through the business side of all your paperwork to set up the distillery, what do you think maybe is more takes more work, learning the business side or just learning the distilling side?
So I think they're definitely two separate, both juggernauts to take care of. Because if you don't have good product in the bottle, it's
Right.
really hard to do the sale. If you don't know how to make the sale, your product's going to sit on a shelf. And then also just all the regulatory things that go into craft spirits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's start when you decided, okay, I'm going to open my own distillery. Where did you start? Like if someone is just getting started, they think they want to, open a distillery. What was just kind of, the basic steps from start to where you are now that you had to go through?
So to start, definitely do a lot of research. And that means going out to craft distilleries, craft breweries, wineries, and talking to folks. It's a very open industry. Folks are, excited when another distillery opens up. So do your research, get those conversations going. There's great resources like ADI to get you rolling, American Distilling Institute.
Right.
And then from there, it's just reading up on the federal guidelines. So
Okay.
the TTB process is pretty.
What is the TTB?
That's the tobacco.
The ATF.
ATF branch
Right.
of the regulatory portion of that. And their application process is really straightforward. There's no, chump the stump kind of questions on there. It's all just straightforward. Having a good business plan that you created from your research of how much product you want to make, how much product you're going to make every month, and the sizes of your vessels, and then knowing the regulations behind that. Everything is printed out black and white on TTB's website, and they have so many different things there. But that application process, especially when you're doing your research, you can open up an account on TTB's website and pull up that application, and that could be the backbone of your research. So that'll tell you, what the different ownership percentages means, what pieces of equipment, and the kind of spacing that you're going to need, and then from there, doing your state research, figuring out what your state requires. Luckily, where I'm at out in the county doesn't have too much regulation out here.
Okay.
Just
So you didn't have to worry about a city or municipality kind of.
But usually, from the folks that I've talked to, the hardest part is going to be your state and your city.
Okay.
And once you can please your state and your city, the TTB is easy. The feds are easy, and they've gotten that process to turn around from my application. I've always heard horror stories of it taking 6 months.
Right.
Mine took, from the time that my application was looked at, it took 3 days to get my approval letter.
Wow.
So that was basically because I did my research. I had everything that they could possibly want, and I knew where it was. So whenever they came back and said, "Hey, we need this, this, and this," I could give them that paper.
So in Kentucky, you did your federal application first, and now you're going through your state and your local.
Yeah. So the state, they won't allow you in Kentucky. You don't start your state process until you have your federal, because that's a portion of your application.
Right. And for just a caveat on that, make sure and look at your state guidelines, people, because every state, I've talked to people in Pennsylvania, a lot more difficult. Georgia, it goes state by state. Some places you really have to start with your local and your state first before you go to federal. So just make sure and check in with your local and state, government entities that control the licenses in your state, so that you can make sure and know exactly where you need to start. Beautiful piece of equipment. What made you get the Bain Marie style, and what was kind of your thought process with the specific equipment you ordered here for what you're going to be producing?
So I've used a lot of different stills of different aesthetic. I knew that I could make what I wanted pretty much if I had the right size still and the right amount of copper. I could make whatever I wanted. So with that, I wanted something that looked really nice.
Right.
So when I was doing my shopping, found Still Dragon. They had a beautiful looking product that, when we move into a tasting room or a place with a tasting room, we have our showpiece, we have our conversation starter.
Right.
And then from there, being out where we are in the county, we don't have 3-phase out here, and the cost for steam is, you really have to know what still you want, and you have to have that money in your pocket to invest in steam. While it is more efficient and long term, it's cost effective. Up front, whenever I'm trying to get bottles out the door, electric was the way to go. I've had experience with electric stills before, and doing grain on. I've had too many elements burn out. I know there's folks that have tricks and all kinds of tips for that. I just, I wanted the best of both worlds, the steam and electric. So I went with Bain Marie. And Bain Marie, being the type of device they are, you can't get that large with them, or you start losing efficiency.
Go through the function of the still. I'll bring this over here. I'll go ahead and start talking, and we can show people this and where it goes. So just real quick, go through how this still works. I know a lot of people are looking at this saying like, my God, this is complicated, and I wouldn't even know where to start. So just talk them through how this thing actually operates.
So we'll start with the heat up, and then we'll move our way up. So this is a Bain Marie pot. That means that there's a jacket in between the actual kettle and then the outside wall. So there's actually water that will be right about this height down here. And basically that's going to create your steam, your cooking power, powered by the controller back here. There's elements that go in the back here. So that's going to heat up or wash our products.
Yeah, keep going. Making sure everybody can see you.
So from there, when the vapors are coming up, they're going to go up through this whiskey helmet. They're going to travel up and over into our bubble cap column right here. We got 6 plates here. So basically, what you're doing here, same concept as our pot distillation, but you're just doing it a lot more right here. So you're doing multiple distillations throughout. And basically, the vapor is allowed to travel up while the water travels down, or the liquid travels down there.
I was trying to take one of these out to show you. Do you have any other upcomers or downcomers, or only?
No, just these.
All right, so you can see these right here, folks. Like these are called upcomers and downcomers. So it allows the steam to come in here at the bottom, and the holes right here. As your water level builds up with the flagmator at the top, it loads all these plates so that the vapor builds up, and then it can drip down one plate after the other, and then from the bottom up, it just redistills everything continuously. Yep. I'm going to be doing a video on one of these later on. Sorry to interrupt there. Keep going.
So at the bottom plate, that spirit that's not 100% ready or at the proof the alcohol level that needs to be able to travel past that delimiter, which I'll show you in a second. There's actually a straw that goes all the way down into the pot, back into the liquid there. And that basically limits where the vapor can move. So the vapor has to travel through this whiskey helmet and go through this column for that redistillation.
And you can show them what we're talking about right now. I've got the...
Yeah. So in here, this is kind of a still dragon unique kind of design. We got this straw right here, and that's actually going to go down into the liquid. So the liquid drops down back into the pot, so the vapor has to travel up through the helmet.
And you can see right here, folks, where he was talking about where the elements go in. So you can see an element port right here down on the bottom. But if you look in here, the element won't be actually exposed into the liquid. It's going to be heating up the water jacket, which gives a much gentler heat up.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry as much about scorching.
I don't know if you can get the camera down here, but actually down here is where our water reservoir is. So all that water is going to be sitting in here, heating up the bottom of that pot. So the steam is actually going to be what is heating up this pot.
Are you since you have this pot, do you do your grain mashes in your pot, or do you still use a fermentation vessel ferment and then transfer your mash into your pot.
So we'll actually transfer our mash in here, and basically the reasoning for that is that I can, the way my setup is, I'd show you the rest of my setup. My distillery is in shambles. What I use is a double inline propane water heater. I can actually roll it. I don't care. I'll roll it over here.
Well, again, remember he's just got everything delivered, and so he's in the process of getting everything set up. And when are you looking to actually be producing your first run there?
So by the end of August, we hope to have our product on the shelf. So this is actually what we're using to heat up our mash tun. It's a double inline industrial water heater using propane. So I can run a mash the same time I'm running my distillation.
That's awesome.
So that's why we won't use that pot as our.
And that we don't have to clean grains. I'm not a big fan of ever mashing anything into your pot. Do you mash on the grain or off the grain when you ferment?
It'll be off the grain.
Okay, so you'll cook your grains and then.
Yeah.
And then,
so
how do you get the grains out of the?
So I've got a false bottom on my
Okay.
mash tun, and basically what that does is allows the liquid to travel through, collect all those sugars before I transfer it over into the ferment.
Awesome.
So here we have our deflimator. Once that vapor is pure enough to travel through, it's actually going to travel through this deflimator here.
And this is going to set right here.
Yep.
All right, just so you guys understand that the vapor comes up right here. I'm going to hold it here. I'm going to set it down,
Yep.
and then the deflimator,
We'll see all the way up there.
that goes all the way up to the top. So definitely a step ladder, a step stool type operation. Nothing you're going to reach on your own here.
Yeah. So with that, I'll be able to control the water flow going into that. Once that vapor is pure enough to travel through the deflimator, it's going to go through the condenser, which is a larger version of that, of this deflimator, and then out through our parrot here. I'll just show you a component of it. So this is our parrot. Our hydrometer will sit in here. We'll have a nice little glass covering over that, and then the product will go out into our collection tote.
It's absolutely good. I mean, you explained it extremely well. I know I learned a lot being here talking to you. So, hey, Balance Distilling Company. Balance Distilling Company. Like you said, he's going to have some of his first products. August, with your distribution, you'll start local here in Kentucky.
Yep. Starting in Kentucky and then moving out to Tennessee and then online sales.
Okay. So, hey, keep an eye out. You guys, I know we talked earlier, you're going to be doing some gins and some rums.
Gin, sorghum whiskey. So that's basically a blend between a rum and a whiskey. It tastes more like a rum than a whiskey, but it's on the sorghum grain. And that's another one of those fun things you're going to find out with TTVs. There's some arbitrary rules on what products
names
can be called.
Right.
And then, we're in Kentucky, so we're going to be doing some bourbon and some rye there.
Awesome. So, guys, make sure and look out Balance Distilling Company. Try some of their products. Really appreciate y'all tuning in to this video. I'm sure a lot of you find it much more interesting than my how-tos there in my shop with my still. A lot more interesting, prettier scenery to look at for sure. Please make sure and like and subscribe to the channel. That's going to allow me to do some more videos like this and expand the horizons from how-tos to just general distilling knowledge, everything distilling, and show that from the start, someone just starting up, all the way to the backside of I'll come back and do another video once he's producing and show his labeling process. So you kind of get to see here in this video someone that had a dream, went for it, and he's right there at it. And so nothing but the best of luck. I'm sure he's going to do great. It's been great talking with you, brother.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks for showing everybody this awesome setup. And if you are interested in distilling, drop me a note. okay, just drop me a message on the Facebook page, Southern Copper Chronicles, or comments here. I'm sure Luke wouldn't mind, helping maybe, give some advice to people. I can get a hold of him, answer questions, put some people in touch, especially if you're in Kentucky. He can kind of talk you through everything and, stuff that he's learned. Any other questions that you had today that weren't answered, just let me know and we'll do that video. All right, guys, have a good afternoon. I appreciate you tuning in.